Hey Hunters, Halo Zoo here for another special video in D&D 5.5. So it's been a week since I was supposedly going to post this, but that didn't happen. Now for reference of what happened, basically I got busy with some other stuff and it took time away from working on 5.5, so I wasn't able to finish it. And also, all three classes, I had nothing done on their fourth subclasses, and for the three they were, it was kind of bad. Like, especially because for Monk at least, as we'll see, their quote unquote fourth subclass is Way of Shadows, which I originally had decided when I was only going to do three subclasses to delay it, because I'm like, well, I'd rather have a certain other one that is getting promoted to the base 4 uh, and leave Way of Shadows for later, because I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with it. But with the upgrade to having 4 subclasses for most classes, I decided, okay, I am going to do Way of Shadows, and I do have some ideas of what I'm going to work with. Now, for reference on what D&D 5.5 even is, this is a homebrew project I have been working on for years. Like, it goes all the way back to before Ravnica even, I think. And of course, I've been updating it over the years, so this is the 2024 updates, so I'm, coming in to this with the idea that we've seen what 1D&D has brought and what does that mean for what I'm working on. And as you'll see, there's already a big change that showed up. And a noticeable thing from that. But regardless, this is designed to be kind of a full rewrite of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. That kind of shifts it in a way that I think is a way better direction for the game to go. And overall, more balanced and healthy, while also adding more customization options and all that. Now for the Monk, this class has seen a pretty decent rework. Though it's not actually as big as some of the other classes were, notably Monk and Fighter. Though, or not Monk, Warlock and Fighter. Though Fighter probably being the biggest rework, as they have a subclass just torn asunder, mixed into the base class. Monk has actually yoinked something from the Fighter, as you might be able to see already. But that was something that I've planned from the start. And I've actually since tweaked it to where Fighter it's not just, oh, Fighter doesn't get any of it. It's Monk gets is the best at it, but Fighter and also Barbarian get it too, as I decided, you know what, maybe these 3 should have it. But without further ado, let's see what's happened to the Monk. So right off the bat, you'll notice focus is called Key again. I might change it to focus as well, but currently I'm keeping with the term Key. You also notice that the martial arts die is exactly the same as it is in 1D&D. So it starts at a D6, ends at a D12. Simple enough. It works. I think I was actually already doing that too, which is hilarious, where it's like, yeah, it makes sense. So then we go over to our first level stuff, and of course we have the monastic tradition. And also a big note, they are called the Way of Blank again. They are not called Warrior of Blank, because that makes no sense. It was a stupid term change. I really don't like it. It does not fit Monk, so we're still calling him Way of X, and it's staying that way. Don't care. Also, however, they get the new weapon mastery, so it's been a bit since we've seen them. Mostly because we've been looking at the casters, so it's not quite the same. However, as an aside, I have fixed the problem with weapon mastery on Monk, which was when we saw it in the 1D&D playtest Unearthed Arcanas, they just had it tacked on, but it was weird because weapon mastery only worked on your weapons. It didn't work on unarmed strike, so there was nothing for that. But martial arts also wasn't going to work with weapons, which was just stupid because it's like, so wait. With martial art, like, it was just kind of dumb. Here, though, it's like, okay, you have weapon mastery, but it's going to work with unarmed attacks. So that problem is gone. Martial arts is pretty much what you'd expect it to be. Same with unarmored defense. Still here. It's still the core features of the class. Then at second level, we get Monk's Key. So you still have like just basically equal to your level key points, but you also have a few abilities, and this has been tweaked a bit. You also get unarmored movement. So this has been changed. So it goes from 5. So it starts at +5, but then it goes all the way to +30 still, but it just goes in increments of 5. So there is a progression track to it. It's roughly every 3, except it doesn't get to... You spend 4 levels with +10. Just tweaked around the progression and scaling a bit. But the movement speed increases come when they do. Then at third level, this is actually supposed to be deflect attacks. Forgot to rename it here. You get a feature from your tradition. So, as you'd expect. And then deflect attacks. So this is the upgraded version still. Fourth level, normally this is just an ability score increase in a feat. However, here you also get slow fall. I might change this to have slow fall come at 5th, and then have stunning strikes as part of key strikes. Maybe. That is just a random thought I came up on the spot. But you do get slow fall here. 5th level, we get the first extra attack. So, monks are now the masters of making all the attacks. But they still get theirs at 5th level. It is just now, that's only their first. Then you also get Stunning Strike, which is going to be based off the new version, with a further tweak that I'll mention. 6th level, Tradition feature and Key Strikes. 7th, Evasion and then Stillness of Mind. 8th, Ability Score increase in a feat. 9th, we get Acrobatic Movement, which helps you with mobility stuff, and Key Surge, which is a quote-unquote new feature, as we'll see. 10th, we get a Tradition feature and Purity of Body. 11th is now where you get your second extra attack. So this means that you have 3 attacks at 11th level, just like fighters used to. However, in 5.5, that is now where monks get it. Fighters have to wait even longer to get theirs. I believe it's at 14th or 15th. I don't remember off the top of my head. Then we also have improved key, so your key abilities are improved in some way. 12th, ability score increase in a feat. 13th, Tongue of Sun and Moon is still here. We also get improved deflect attacks. 14th, we get a Tradition feature and Diamond Soul. 15th, we have Timeless Body and improved Key Surge, so your Key Surge is better now. Then at 16th, ability score increase in a feat, as is standard. 17th is going to be the third extra attack. So this actually comes earlier than fighters got it. However, do note, this just means they scale with cantrips. So think of it like how Warlock would progress with Eldritch Blast. That's what you get here. And then with improved 18th, we get improved key, so you get the final upgrade, its ultimate forms, and empty body. Then 19th is ability score increase and defeat. And 20th is going to be your final tradition feature, as well as perfect self, which has been modified, by the way. Mostly because if you haven't seen the Barbarian video, you should know I absolutely hate flat stat increases as the capstone. I really don't like them. It just does not work well, in my opinion. They're just boring and stupid. I don't like them. It's like, granted, I will admit, it was a massive improvement. However, I would have rather had something interesting than something stupid like that, where it's boring, it works, but it's boring. Like, granted, I will always take those over the stupid, oh, get your short rest resource on initiative if you have none. Those were always stupid and awful capstones. Anyway, going on to the core stuff. Hit points, D8 hit dice per level. Starting HP is 8 plus your constitution score, as is the standard going into 5.5, where, yeah, no, you're not made of paper mache at first level. You actually have HP to work with. So this does mean you can get a hefty 24 HP to start off with if you're really crazy. But hey, it's a massive improvement. Let's be honest. HP per level is still 5 plus con modifier, or D8 plus con modifier if you're crazy and roll HP. Then for proficiencies, they do have no armor, but you don't need it. They also get all simple weapons, but also martial melee weapons with the light property. They also get to choose an artisan tool or musical instrument of their choice to gain proficiency with. They have strength and dex save proficiencies. They also get to pick 2 from among acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, religion, sleight of hand, or stealth. Actually, I'm going to edit this and say you pick 3 from among them. So you get to pick 3 skills that you are proficient with. So since you're a martial class, you get more skills. Might also give them expertise, actually, to kind of give them some stuff with probably a more limited one, like maybe they only get 1 per deal, but you have some expertises, basically. But then we have weapon mastery. So as a quick refresher to how these are going to work, you have stances, which are basically, you choose the mastery effect you get. So instead of doing like, okay, each weapon has its own specific mastery it's tied to, they don't have that. And the weapons are actually reworked to be a similar system to 4th edition, as I'm working on this whole like weapon system that is going to be shared across all my homebrew projects. But they work differently. They're not tied to the masteries at all. And the stances are what replace the current D&D 2024 weapon masteries. And a lot of them are even modified to be in there, too. So you have those here. And basically, every turn you choose which stance you're in, and it applies to all attacks you make that turn. Then you have exploits. I forgot to say that you learn them. So, exploits are basically spell slot equivalents. So you have stamina that you use to cast or utilize your martial exploits. A lot of these are going to be full actions and may or may not do stuff like, oh yeah, you charge in and do a big strike. Just, hey, here's a daily use resource that does big stuff. So monks learn their exploits. Only fighters currently prepare them. So you got that. And, of course, your exploits go from 1st to 5th rank. Similar to Half-Caster, but these are often going to be more powerful than the spells of a Half-Caster as well. So then monastic tradition, it is what it is. Martial arts at 1st level. Basically, you treat unarmed attacks, simple weapons, and martial melee weapons with the light property as monk weapons. They're treated as having the finesse property, and their damage dice increases to the size shown in the martial arts column class progression table, if it's not that or bigger, as you'd expect. And your unarmed attacks have the accurate property, which is just a property that gives you a +1 bonus to attack rolls with that weapon. So monks are just more accurate with unarmed attacks as well. And you can use a bonus action on your turn to make an unarmed attack. Doesn't count as an offhand attack, so it does specify this still uses your full modifier. You can also use dexterity instead of strength to grapple and shove creatures, as you do in D&D 2024. So this is roughly similar, just with some tweaks to accommodate for the weapon property stuff. That overhaul. Unarmored defense, just while you aren't wearing armor, using mage armor, or using a shield, yeah, +1 whiz to AC, as you expect. Monk's Key at 2nd level, though, so you have a cool key as shown in the table. Regain all expended key with the short or long rest. And then its save DC is 8 plus profit plus whiz. You will note that Uncanny Metabolism has been removed from 2nd level. This is actually because of a fundamental change that is happening. Short rests in D&D 5.5 are going to be 30 minutes or maybe even 15 minutes long. This means you will be able to use them way more often. So the idea is that, you know, instead of playing whack-a-mole with and slapping band-aids on all these issues that stem from having short rest be an hour, no, we're ripping the band-aid off. We're actually fixing the problem at source. Short rests are easier to fit into your adventuring day. They're way more practical and safe to use in dungeons where you are supposed to use them. Thus, Uncanny Metabolism has been removed from 2nd level in order to accommodate for the fact that you don't actually need it anymore. You can just take short rests more often. More classes have stuff to do on a short rest. So you just have more reason to use it. And it's the role it served isn't as important anymore. Anyway, what are the different abilities? So basically, whenever you use Flurry of Blows, it has been reworded. So basically, it is now worded to be whenever you use the bonus action attack of martial arts. So it's now tied directly to the martial arts bonus attack. It's very explicit that, yeah, this is part of it. And you expend 1 key to make 1 extra unarmed attack. At 11th level, you add plus whiz to the attack rolls of both of the extra attacks of the bonus action. So each of them has a bonus equal to your wisdom modifier to the attack roll. So they're more accurate. And then at 18th level, you just get to make 2 extra unarmed attacks. So that's 3 attacks for a total of 7 attacks in a turn, which is actually the highest of any class, unless you're some multi-class fighter, which you could, in theory, actually do to get the 11, but still. Then we have Step of the Wind, so you can dash as a bonus action, and when you do so, you can expend 1 ki to both dash and disengage as part of the same action. At 11th level, whenever you expend ki for the ability, choose a willing creature more than one size larger than you, and allow them to shift, aka move without provoking opportunity attacks. The same distance you move with this action to a space in 5 feet of where you end the movement, so basically bring an ally with you. And at 18th level, when you expend ki for this ability, you and any creature you bring with you have a fly speed equal to your walking speed for the dash. So basically, you get to fly. It does end once it finishes, but you do get to fly during the dash. Patient Defense, meanwhile, you can disengage as a bonus action, just for free, as you'd expect, and then also you can expend 1 ki when you do so to both dodge and disengage as part of the same action. At 11th level, you also add your Wisdom modifier to saving throws while dodging this way, and at 18th level, you have resistance to all damage while dodging this way. So while you're dodging and all that, you're just even harder to kill now. Then we have Quickened Healing. So yes, this is back, and it's just part of base ki. As a standard action, you can expend 1 ki to regain roll your martial arts plus your wisdom modifier HP. And at 11th level, you roll 2 martial arts die instead. Then at 18th, it's 3 martial arts die rolls. Then, whenever you expend ki as part of a standard action, you can make a single monk weapon attack as part of that action. So, basically, with Quicken Healing, you do get the attack. That is just part of this. So, basically, hey, if you spend ki as a standard action, you get to make an attack. So, from Tasha's, that is just part of it by default. Second level, we get Unarmored Movement. Movement speeds are increased by number of feet as shown. So then Deflect Attack. So this is pretty much the ability as it is right now. Basically, when you're hit by a physical damage attack, use your reaction to deflect to catch the missile. All that. Reduce the damage by 1 martial arts die plus your dexterity modifier plus your monk level. And if the damage is reduced to 0, can expend a ki to make an unarmed attack part of the same reaction. And if the triggering attack was a melee attack, then your attack is a melee attack against the target in your reach. If it was a ranged attack, then your attack is a ranged attack against the target in 60 feet of you, ignoring any penalties for being in 5 feet of an enemy. So you can use this even when a ranged attack hits you in melee. And on a hit, it deals 2 martial arts plus dexterity modifier damage of the triggering attack's type. So if you're hit by a piercing attack, you deal piercing damage. If it was slashing, you deal slashing. If it is the new bleed type, then it would be bleed, though it's unlikely you're going to get hit by an attack roll that does bleed. Or at least bleed on its own. It also does half damage on a miss, so if you spend the ki on it, it's never wasted. At 13th level, you can use this feature when you take energy damage, aka anything that isn't physical. So you use it on all damage. 4th level, whenever you fall, use a reaction to reduce all fall damage taken by 5 times your monk level. You don't fall prone, damage is reduced to 0. Extra attack, take attack action, make 2 attacks instead of 1. 11th level, you make 3 attacks instead of 1, and 17th, you make 4 attacks instead of 1. Stunning Strike, once per turn when you hit a creature. I might change this to once per round. When you hit a creature with a monk weapon attack, you can spend 1 ki to force the target to make a con save, or be stunned until the start of your next turn, or dazed until the start of your next turn on a successful save. Now, what is dazed? Basically the effect they gave it if they succeed the save already in 2024, but it is just named, and it basically just means instead of being able to take a standard move and bonus action, you can only take a standard move or bonus action. So you only get to pick one, and that's all you get that turn. Then at 6th, you get key strikes. Monk weapon attacks are always considered magical. Might add stunning strike to that, fusing it together, but oh well. 7th level evasion, make a dex save against damage, half damage on fail, 0 on success. Stillness of mind, you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. Acrobatic movement at 9th. While you aren't wearing armor or holding a shield, you can move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the move. Damaging liquids still hurt you, so if you're walking on lava with this, it still does fire damage to you. Then Key Surge at 9th. Whenever you roll initiative, you can regain all expended ki and shift up to your speed as a free action. So basically, you just move without provoking a single opportunity attack as part of rolling initiative. Once you use this feature, can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So this is basically a... So this is what Uncanny Metabolism has become. It is now Key Surge. So when you roll initiative, you get to dart in and get all your ki back. Then at 15th level, whenever you roll initiative and don't choose to regain all expended ki, you regain up to 4 expended ki and can shift up to half your speed as a free action. So basically at 15th, you get a lesser effect, even if you don't use your main Key Surge. Purity of body, you have immunity to poisons and disease, and to the poison condition, and immunity to poison damage, and resistance against acid and necrotic. So basically stuff that would corrupt or weaken your body directly, don't do that anymore. Tongue and Sun of Moon at 13th. Basically, you understand all spoken languages besides special languages, aka anything like Thieves' Cant or Druidic. And all creatures that speak or understand at least one language understand all words you speak. So, you can always speak with people no matter the language you have and understand each other. Diamond Soul at 14th, you're proficient in all saving throws, so you just have all the save proficiencies. And once per round, whenever you fail a saving throw, you can spend 1 ki to re-roll the saving throw. At 15th, your body no longer ages through Timeless Body. And then 18th, Empty Body, can expend up to 8 ki to cast Astral Projection without needing material components, but you can't take other creatures with you. 20th, Perfect Self. You can take 2 bonus actions on your turn instead of only 1. It is so simple, yet possibly one of the most absurd things I could have given a monk. The class with the most things to do with the bonus action, so I cannot wait to see what chaos people create with this. Because I feel like it's one line, yet I'm kind of happy with how silly it is. Where it's just, yeah, no, you just get to have multiple, you get 2 bonus actions. So, yeah, you can Flurry of Blows twice on a turn if you wanted to. Which means a 20th level monk can actually make, just casually make 10 attacks on their turn. Yeah, have fun with that. Let the chaos commence. But anyway, that is the base monk. So let's start looking into the different monk ways that you can take. So we have Way of the Open Hand first. The classic unarmed. And this time their art will actually have them be unarmed except for a sling. Because, yeah, I will say this. I'm, like, of the 4 monk artworks, I think that Open Hand is the worst. Just because they gave him a staff. The only one with a weapon, and it's the frickin' one that doesn't actually want a weapon and wants to be unarmed all the time. However, this wants that even more. So their abilities, we have Stone Fist Strikes at first. Your unarmed attacks deal force damage in addition to their other types. And they have the Brutal 1 and High Crit properties. So these are returning properties from 4th edition. Basically, Brutal means that you reroll the damage dice until you get a result that isn't the number shown or less. So in this case, you just reroll until you get a 2 or higher. And then High Crit, whenever you get a critical strike, you deal an extra 1 weapon damage, aka whatever the current martial arts damage is. So yeah, you're just even better with unarmed strikes than anyone else will ever be. Then we have Mantis Grasp, also at first. So whenever you successfully grapple or shove a creature, can deal bludgeoning and force damage equal to half your proficiency bonus plus your dexterity or strength modifier. Also note that with all the monk unarmed attack stuff, this will actually work with unarmed strikes of natural weapons and stuff like that. So if you have claws as a tabaxi or leonin, you can use them as a monk. And you can use them as way of the open hand. Same with the minotaur and their horns. Then we have open hand technique at third for way of the open hand. Basically, this is what it was before, kinda. Whenever you hit one or more creatures with flurry of blows, you can do one of the following effects on that target. Topple, dex save or be knocked prone. Push, strength save or be pushed up to 10 feet away from you. Or addle, can't take reactions till the end of your next turn. Then Wholeness of Body at 6th. As a bonus action, gain 3 times your monk level HP. And once used, you gotta finish a long rest before using it again. So basically, once per day, you just get a big heal as a bonus action. 10th level, we get Fleet Step. So when you expend a key with a bonus action, other than Step of the Wind, you can shift half your walking speed as part of the bonus action. So basically, you can move half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks whenever you don't use Step of the Wind. 14th is Meteor Punch, which kind of a placeholder, but this might be changed into a exploit. But as a full action, can expend 5 ki and fly up to your walking speed to a point at least 20 feet above the ground. Then you immediately fall to the ground without taking any damage, making an unarmed strike against the target in reach of you during the fall. Note that this can be at any point, so this could be an enemy you were next to at the top of the fall, or it could be someone at the bottom. It doesn't matter. And that attack deals an extra 2 martial arts dice damage for each attack you can make during your attack action. So you do only make 1 unarmed strike, but it does pretty much double the number of attacks you could make in martial arts damage. So also, as an aside, full action is all 3 actions on your turn. So it's your standard move and minor action or bonus action combined. And also, you knock the target prone on a hit. And if you miss, you still deal half damage, because, yeah, that would be a waste otherwise. Then each creature of your choice in 10 feet of where you land, other than the target, they have to make a dexterity saving throw, or take 1 martial arts bludgeoning and force damage for each attack you can make during your attack action. Half that on a success. So basically, you just jump up into the air and die and fall down and strike with a massive attack on a single target, while also splashing out to damage other enemies. Could be an exploit, but because that does follow a similar philosophy to what I want to do with them. But I might just leave it here as a key thing for open hand, because they do need a 14th level feature. I don't know what else to do right now. Then at 20th, we have Quivering Palm. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, you can spend 4 ki to start the vibrations, which last for a number of days equal to your monk level, so 20 days. And they're harmless until you use your standard action or 2 attacks from the attack action. So basically, you can sacrifice half your attacks to end the vibrations. And they got to make a con save or take 10d12 force damage, or half that on a success. You can only have 1 creature under the effect at a time. And you can end the vibrations harmlessly as a free action. So, plenty of similarities, especially with a lot of the base stuff. It's just there's new things, and it's kind of designed with its first level stuff to be, oh no, you're all about unarmed attacks. Which is kind of the point. Then up next, we've got Way of the Four Elements. So this has been changed up a bit. Notably, it has... So I was originally going to do a whole upgrade of my own. Then we got the one we did, and it's like, okay, this is actually really cool now. I really like it. There's just a few things I would change. And here's what we've got. So, first level, we get Elemental Attunement. So you learn Primordial for free, and you also get Elementalism and use your Wisdom for the spellcasting mod. Then we also have Elemental Strikes. So rather than having to be under Elemental Attunement to get this, you just always have Elemental Strikes. They're treated as an unarmed attack, and this attack has a reach of 15 feet, so its melee reach is a reach weapon plus an additional 5 feet. So it actually triples your reach rather than just doubling it. And you deal acid, bludgeoning, cold, fire, lightning, piercing, slashing, or thunder damage. So you do get to deal physical damage types for earth now. And you choose each attack than a normal type. You can also use this as a ranged attack with a normal range of 30 feet and a long range of 90 feet. You don't add your strength or dex mod to the damage roll when used as a ranged attack, however. So you do have access to a lot more range and elemental effects at all times. However, the ranged attack version is a bit weaker in order to keep it where it's like, no, you're a melee class, you just have a ranged option available to you. Then at 3rd level, we get Elemental Confluence, replacing Elemental Attunement as the... Oh, boom. So basically, whenever you start your turn, you can expend 1 ki to activate Elemental Confluence, which lasts for 10 minutes until you're incapacitated. And you have Elemental Reach, so the reach and range of your elemental strikes are doubled, so you now have a 30-foot melee reach and a 60-foot range on your ranged attack version. And you have Elemental Ward, so you have +1 AC while it's active, and you reduce all acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder damage taken by your Wisdom modifier. Whenever you take damage of one of those types, you can use a reaction, spend 1 ki to have resistance to that damage instead. Then at 6th level, we have Elemental Burst. So you can expend 2 ki as a standard action to create a burst of elemental energy in a 20-foot sphere centered on a point 120 feet of you, or a new addition in a 20-foot emanation around you. So basically, you can create a explosion around yourself instead of always having to hurl the energy out at a different area in range. Each creature other than you in the area must make a dex save or take 3 rolls in your martial arts in acid, bludgeoning, cold, fire, lightning, piercing, slashing, or thunder damage. And while Elemental Confluence is active, you can choose up to your Wisdom modifier creatures to not be affected by the elemental energy, so you can weave it around allies. And the damage scales with cantrips, so it becomes 4 dice at 11th, and 5 dice at 17th. So it is going to scale up now through that as well. Just to keep it where it's like, yeah, no, it's still hitting really hard. Excuse my yawning. 10th level, we get Stride of the Elements. So while Elemental Confluence is active, you have a fly speed and swim speed equal to your walking speed. And at 18th level, your Step of the Wind lets you move an extra 10 feet while Elemental Confluence is active, in order to make up for the fact that, yeah, you just fly innately, so it has a different 18th level effect to replace it with this. Then at 14th level, we have Elemental Overload. So while Elemental Confluence is active, Elemental Strikes deal an additional half your proficiency bonus damage, so that's for your melee ones, and then your ranged ones, add your Strength or Dex modifier. So you get the modifier back now. And you get to choose 2 damage types instead of 1 for Elemental Strikes and Elemental Burst. Then, even outside of Elemental Confluence, you have the minus Whiz to damage, to elemental damage. But while it's active, you have resistance to the damage types innately, and the reaction is now for immunity to the damage type. So basically, Elemental Ward just gets upgraded by 1 step around the board. Then at 20th level, as your pinnacle, we get Mastery of Elements, so we get Destructive Stride. And I could actually apply this to Stride of the Elements as the 18th level thing, but yeah, hindsight 2020. But I might keep it here. Basically, whenever you Step of the Wind, speed is increased by 20 feet for the dash, and each creature of your choice that moved within that you moved within 5 feet of during the dash must make a dex save or take 1 martial arts damage of two of the types between acid, bludgeoning, cold, fire, lightning, piercing, slashing, and or thunder. And empowered strikes, once per round when hit with an elemental strike, deal additional martial arts damage with that attack. So just more damage all around, but might work on it more, give it more pizzazz, but I don't know. It's all work in progress. It's just a first pass anyway. Then we have Way of the Kensei, who I decided would be a better choice as a third subclass to contrast with Way of the Open Hand, as here is the Master of Being Unarmed. Here's the Master of Weapons as well. So we start off with bonus proficiencies, so you get proficiency with either calligrapher's tools or painter's supplies, as well as all martial weapons. And you treat any weapons you're proficient with as monk weapons. So how this works basically is a bit different, and we're actually going to look at Kensei weapons because this is where it really shows up. Basically, you choose 3 weapons you're proficient with that don't have the heavy or special property, except the longbow and the new great bow. And at least 1 melee and 1 ranged weapons. And these are your Kensei weapons. So how this ends up working, it has been reversed. So before, you would choose the weapon and then get proficiency with it, with Kensei, and also Pact of the Blade, as we saw before, if you have seen the Warlock video. I've changed that because I've brought back exotic weapons, and you're not supposed to be able to get those by default. You have to invest a feat to get them. So how those 2 work was reversed in order to make it where it's like, no, you can't get weapons you're not supposed to get for free. So you still have to get the feat. It's the only way to get them. But you do have access to them, and the great bow is available to Kensei, just as a longbow would be, since the great bow is the upgraded longbow. Also, while you're wielding a Kensei weapon, you have +2 AC. So that just replaces the very stupid and idiotic, oh, you know, if you make an unarmed attack as part of your action, basically as part of the attack action, then you get +2 AC if you're wielding your Kensei weapon. It's like, what the hell, wizards? Like, why? It's just, it doesn't work right. It's weird, it's stupid, but here it's changed. Then we also see Kensei Mastery. So this is a new thing added in, but basically, when you would draw or stow a Kensei weapon, you may draw or stow, you may stow and draw a Kensei weapon instead. So basically, normally you only get to draw or stow one thing at a time. You either draw or you stow on your turn. But as a Kensei, you can draw and stow as long as both weapons are Kensei weapons. So you just get your free draw and stow as part of the same thing. This is similar to what fighters get. However, it's just for the Kensei weapons. Mostly so you can easily swap between melee weapons and ranged weapons. And while you're wielding a melee Kensei weapon, you can change the damage type of your unarmed attacks to your weapon's type. Basically to represent, it's the damage on an unarmed attack, but you're still using the weapon in some way. And you treat them as if they were made with the weapon type of that weapon. So if you're wielding an axe, those unarmed attacks are considered as from an axe. And they get any bonuses and properties of the weapon. So, for example, if you say had the brutal property, like Way the Open Hand has, then that has brutal. Damage dice are the same, of course. But while you're wielding a ranged Kensei weapon, you can use a bonus action to cause the next stack with that weapon this turn that hits to deal an additional martial arts damage. So basically you still have the sniper stuff. Then at third we have Kensei Counter. When you use deflect attacks while wielding a melee Kensei weapon, you can make the melee attack without expending ki, but it only deals 1 martial arts plus dexterity modifier damage on a hit, and none on a miss. If you do spend ki, then you add +2 to the attack roll. So basically, you're able to counter even better with deflect attacks while holding a melee weapon. Kind of like that idea of the like martial artist who just stands there with their weapon drawn and they wait for their enemy to attack, and just as they're about to attack, they dodge out of the way and make a counterattack. That's kind of the flavor I was thinking in my head for this, where you just always have that available to you. But you're even better with that deflect attacks bit. Then third level also has Kensei Shot. Basically, you can use a bonus action while wielding a ranged Kensei weapon and spend a ki to cause the next attack with that weapon to do a +2 martial arts damage. And 11th level, you get +whiz to the attack roll, and 18th, you do 3 rolls of martial arts die damage instead. So basically just flurry of blows, but for the Kensei Mastery Shot. I might change how Kensei Mastery is presented to make it add a bit more clarity, but oh well. Then at 6th, we have One with the Blade. Kensei weapons can't be disarmed, and you gain +1 to attack rolls with Kensei weapons, so you're just more accurate with them in general. Sharpen the Blade, then. Basically, you can crit on a roll 1 lower than normal with Kensei weapons, and they deal +1 martial arts damage on crit. So they just do even more damage than before. So you're just getting more crits and more damage. 14th, One with the Weapon. Basically, whenever you miss with a Kensei weapon attack, gain +1 attack rolls with it until you hit with it with an attack or take a short or long rest. So basically, you just get this stacking bonus until you hit. So if you miss twice in a row, oh, you got +2 on your next attack roll. Oh, you missed that too? Okay, here's a +3. And it could theoretically go infinite, though in practice, it'll probably get up to 10 and then you hit. Then we got True Kensei Mastery at 20th, which just doubles the bonuses of one with a blade and one with the weapon. So, yeah. Probably going to change it up a bit more, but it is what it is. Last but not least, we've got Way of the Shadows. So, this is seen some upgrading. So, this is why I delayed this one, at least. Because I wanted to get this finished before, because it'd be kind of weird if I didn't. But anyway, Way of Shadows has been expanded on quite a bit now. So first level, we get Eye of the Ninja. You get Dark Vision in 60 feet of you, or an additional plus 60 feet to your Dark Vision if you already have it. And you get proficiency in one of the following skills between Sleight of Hand, Stealth, or Thieves' Tool, so you get some roguish stuff to go with your Shadow Monk. Then we got the Shadow Art, so at first level, you only get Shadowy Figments, which gives you Minor Illusion with Wiz. Shadow Darts, a new thing where basically when you make a ranged weapon attack with a light blade that has a light property, which will include darts, but also shuriken and kunai, I believe is the exotic variant. Basically, you make a ranged weapon attack against up to 3 targets in 10 feet of at least one other target, but you don't add your dex modifier to the damage rolls. And all 3 attacks deal cold, necrotic, or psychic damage in addition to their normal types. But this only consumes 1 ammo. So basically you throw 1, but it's copied and then spreads out to do the damage. So you can target multiple people, basically hurl multiple shuriken at a time. Kind of like Genji in Overwatch's triple shuriken, like, shotgun spread. Then we have Surprise Attack once per round. Whenever you hit a creature you are hidden from with a monk weapon attack, you deal plus Wiz, cold, necrotic, or psychic damage to the target, and the weapon's damage is the chosen type in addition to its normal type. So basically, if you're hidden from somebody, hey, here's a bonus for it. Third level, we get Wreath and Shadow. So you get the following stuff. Fade into Night. Can hide as a bonus action if you're in dim light or darkness. But you can expend 1 key to still do it in bright light. So basically a kind of rogue light type deal where you're not as good as a rogue. You do require shadows to be able to actually hide like this, but you've got it. Which also means that if you're behind cover, but in bright light, then it doesn't work. Flurry of Darts, so when you use Flurry of Blows, you can make ranged weapon attacks with light blades with the light property. So instead of making unarmed attacks, you just throw a bunch of shuriken. Because why not? Then there is Smoke Cloud, so as a standard action, you can expend 2 key to cast Darkness at 2nd rank, which uses your wisdom for the spellcasting roll. And when you cast it this way, choose up to wisdom modifier creatures in 15 feet of you. They can see in the magical darkness as if it was in dim light. As for why it does not say you can see through it, I've decided that I'm actually going to do some errata to darkness and make it where you can see through your own darkness automatically. Yeah, it's just such a pain to deal with. It's because ultimately, with the way it is, it's like, well, why would I cast that if it shrouds me in darkness too? It's like, it has uses, but it's not really great. Now it's like, okay, it's going to be more practical to use as at least you can see through the darkness automatically. 6th level, we have Shadow Step, which is getting nerfed. As a move action, can expend 4 ki to cast Misty Step at 2nd rank. Note that Misty Step itself is a move action now, but it moves your speed plus 10 feet. And if you're in Dim Light or Darkness, can reduce the ki expended to only 2. So basically, can use 4 ki to cast it in Bright Light, but if you're in Dim Light or Darkness, can reduce it to 2, but you must teleport to another space in Dim Light or Darkness this way. So you always have to spend ki for this now, but you're able to do, like, basically you're able to move a bit more on its own, but it's not just a super dash that's just ridiculously broken. And when you cast Misty Step with this creature, you're considered hidden from the target or targets of the first weapon attack you make before the end of your current turn. So do note, this does mean you still get combat advantage. It is just part of being hidden. It just is also a way to get the surprise attack bonus. Then 10th level, we got Ghost Step. So when you use Step of the Wind, ignore difficult terrain during the dash. And if you expended ki, you can move through occupied spaces at half your speed. 14th level, we got Dreadful Darkness. Basically, whenever you cast Darkness through Wreath and Shadow, each creature of your choice in the area must make a Wiz save or take 2 martial arts cold, necrotic and psychic damage, or half on a success. Any creature that willingly enters the darkness or starts its turn there must repeat the save against the damage. So basically, you just, now it's a lingering dot. Probably actually going to remove the half damage part, but basically, it's now a lingering damage effect as well. Then Cloak and Shadows. As a bonus action, can expend 4 ki to shroud yourself from shadows for up to a minute, or until you're incapacitated or ended early as a free action. And you get the following bonus benefits of Umbral Form, so you're invisible to creatures of your choice, and create an aura of darkness within 50 feet that lowers light by 1 step, so bright light to dim, and dim light to darkness. Then Phase Walk, all your movement is under the effect of your Ghost Step feature, as if you spent ki to dash, and when you use ki on Step of the Wind, you can also move a total of 15 feet through walls during the dash, but must end the move in a free space, so basically, you can now move through walls. Then, of course, Shadow Flurry. You can use Flurry of Blows at will without expending ki, because why the heck not? Which also is probably going to be absolutely bonkers, since you also have 2 bonus actions. They might make this once per turn, so you can only use it once for free, but you still have a lot of Flurry of Blows for free. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video looking at the Monk and all the changes I've been making to it as I've been working on the 5.5 project. If you want to see more of this, you can always go back on the channel and look at the other 9 videos. But you can also stay tuned for the next 2, which is going to be the Rogue and finally the Ranger. Because I gotta save the best for last, in my opinion. But anyway, without further ado, I will see y'all next time. Halo Zoo, out.